Well, we have our legal analyst, Whitney Traylor, here with us to talk about a story that we broke last night. More than a dozen gas stations accidentally gave people the wrong kind of gas this week, and it is doing damage to their vehicles. So, Whitney, thank you for being here. Talk to us about the law here. Do customers have any legal recourse for damage to their vehicles because some company put in the wrong type of gas that was advertised differently?
Yeah, I think they absolutely have some recourse. And the only question is, what is the legal theory upon which they can go forward? So this is probably a negligence claim where they had a duty to provide the proper gas and they didn't. That breach of that duty is what caused damage to their vehicle. But it could be strict liability because this is ultra hazardous activity, because they're maintaining these dangerous chemicals, essentially gasoline, which is very dangerous. So it could be that theory, but really it doesn't matter. I think they will have a number of legal theories if it comes to that. Hopefully they won't have to end up in litigation and the gas station or whoever is ultimately liable makes them all whole.
Right, and we'll have to, only time will tell.
Yes.
In terms of regulation, which to some people could be, are highly critical of, in this case, would it have been better to have more regulation here, or does that not even apply?
No, I think the regulation applies, and I hear that a lot, that in small business owners especially say, hey, there's too much government regulation, but it's situations like these where you actually want that government regulation because the maintaining petroleum is obviously a very dangerous activity, and so it's the Division of Oil and Public Safety that regulates the maintenance and distribution of petroleum. And so I looked briefly this morning and there's a variety of regulations and statutes that apply. I didn't see what happens in this particular instance, so I think people will definitely have a civil lawsuit if they're not made whole. But what the regulations say, I didn't see. But it does have standards on how to maintain it. And of course, the enforcement is ultimately done by the Attorney General's office.
I think that's interesting that you mentioned that if they're not made whole, that they could go the civil route.
Yes.
So I think that's important to note if anybody was affected. And if one of our viewers was affected,
yes,
they actually put this gas in their car. What can they do right now at this point? What would you recommend right now to do?
Well, this isn't binding legal advice, folks, because I don't know every individual case is separate. But essentially, I mean, there are a number of things they can do. There's a claim form that I think we posted on our website and that they're asking to fill out from the Division of Oil and Public Safety. And you can just go there and there's a consumer section that says, if you have a problem, I went on the link today. It's very user-friendly, so I would start with that.
Good to know.
Yes. Obviously, maintain all your records in terms of the damages, take pictures. If you missed any work, if you were outside when your car broke down and your clothes got damaged, and you now have dry cleaning, you want to keep all of those damages together and then obviously contact the station where you got it. And hopefully they will, like I said, make you whole. But if not, and you have to go the route of a demand letter or going to litigation, you're going to want to have that itinerary of damages that you suffered.
Keep the receipts. Always keep the receipts.
Yes.
Have them in a file, ready to go.
Yeah.
When it comes to who the individuals that are affected, who they're suing.
Yes.
Is it the gas station? Is it the supplier?
Right.
Is it one individual? I mean, this is where it would be confusing for me, so I just want to clarify to anybody watching.
No, that's a great question, and at this point, we don't really know because from what I've seen on the reporting, we don't know who was actually liable, where this mistake happened. Was it the supplier? Was it the distributor? Was it the actual gas station owner? And this is what is called sometimes complex civil litigation, when you have everybody pointing the finger at one another. And and then you have cross claims and third party claims when somebody's saying, hey, you sued me, but it actually wasn't my fault. It was this supplier that was at fault. And really, this should be easy to figure out. If people are not accepting liability and pointing the fingers at other, then you may have to get into some discovery and figure that out, because was it the trucks that were distributing it and they just put it in the wrong tanks? Was it the owner that somehow mislabeled things? I mean, it seems really weird, and it seems somewhat straightforward to figure that out. But that will, if people are pointing the finger, and that happens a lot. Yeah, you have to go
And
to discovery.
Tell our viewers, because I recently learned what discovery is. Like, what exactly is discovery?
So discovery in a civil lawsuit and in criminal lawsuit, there is discovery, but in civil lawsuits, that's where the other side has to produce evidence. You get an opportunity to ask questions. They're called interrogatories. You get to take depositions where you get to ask people under oath all these questions. It's your lawyer asking the questions, and you get to essentially find out. So you're not going into court, blind. And and it makes sense because you don't want to have a situation where people don't have all the facts. You want to have the facts and then present that to a judge or jury with your side being advocated. So it's a really important part of the litigation process, and a lot of cases settle after the discovery process because that's when people get their deposition taken and you realize, okay, hey, we got some real exposure here, or you realize we don't have the evidence that we thought we had. And again, this one seems really straightforward. I mean, the gas was clearly wrong. There were a number of people that had this same situation happen. This caused severe damage. Obviously, if you're putting in diesel fuel or the wrong type of fuel
to your vehicle,
it's going to really damage your vehicle.
And it has.
Yes, and that's easy to prove. And there's a lot of, I think the people who went to mechanics, they told them, hey, you got the wrong fuel in here. So this isn't really a lot of questions about what other possibilities there could be. So I think this is going to be a straightforward situation. And the gas stations, hopefully it doesn't get to litigation and they just do the right thing. And
exactly.
say, yes, show us your damages. We're going to make you whole.
Yes.
That's compensatory damages, which is to make you whole.
To make you whole. It's already been a huge headache enough for that consumer.
Yes.
So please, to Whitney Traylor's point, do the right thing.
Yes.
We appreciate you, Whitney. Great advice, great expertise. Thank you so much.
All right, good to be here.